Where'd they go? How big is the room when you're dead? How big is the room when you've never been born? You know, and it's just as big then as it is now, although it may look very different.
Yeah, the ceiling is getting closer as I grow up.
Yeah. Or you dream of a room, and it's a very vivid dream. You're dreaming the room very precisely, very sharply. The room's right there, and you're in it. And my God, this is like, you know, it's realer than this, right? How big is that room? And when you wake up, how big is the room? Before you ever dreamt of that room, how big is it? You know, because the room didn't get created when you dreamed of it. It only appears. It never was created. It's not actually there. It seems to be there. It is an appearance. You know, and again, you know, the nature of appearance is another aspect of this investigation of experience.
The other part of it that I was thinking about is, and I got very angry at the optometrist that said this to me. When I was about 20 or 25, he told me that when I turned 40, I would need glasses. And I got very angry at him, because how should he know this? You know, how should he be able to predict this of me when I wear glasses? It seems to me that as I age, there's this softening of the field.
Mm-hmm.
Is any of that truly different, or I mean, my
Different
perception
from what?
different from when I was younger, or
You can't know.
yeah, because you can't exist in both times at the same time.
Can't know.
Because
And what does softer mean?
well, that's where I'm getting to. You know, if I'm wearing glasses and I see you more sharply,
Mm-hmm.
is that any more real?
No,
It's just
it's not more real. It's
more
just
gratifying?
sharper.
maybe more gratifying than just seeing
Well,
you as a blob.
gratifying is a way of qualifying it, and that's completely arbitrary.
It gets into likes and dislikes.
Yeah, well, all of which is great. I mean, by all means, if you like sharpness, or if you or if you like fuzziness, you know, which some people may, have at it. But fuzziness is real fuzziness, and sharpness is real sharpness, and the fuzziness is not any less real than the sharpness. I mean, let's suppose you have a delirium. Suppose you have a really high fever, or you're really stoned, or someone dosed you with LSD, or who knows what, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you're just like totally out of it. And the sensorium is just smeared and clobbered, right? But it really is that. That's real. That's what reality is in that moment, as far as you know.
For me.
Yeah, of course, for you. But what else is there but for you,
Right.
as far as you can tell?
But that's my third thing, and that is, if somebody like Chrysler is on the street
Mm-hmm.
and he looks at the Chrysler building and he says, "That's my building,"
Mm-hmm.
but if you don't know that he's Chrysler, then you think he's crazy.
Right.
But he could actually have the deed in a safe deposit box.
Sure. Well, what you think is irrelevant, because that's just more craziness.
But what I'm getting to is, craziness is really, it's a judgment, correct?
Yes. Well, craziness is a judgment in terms of someone else. Craziness is an assessment in terms of oneself.
Yeah.
If you're doing it accurately. If you're not doing it accurately, then it's just a belief. Oh, you're nuts. I'm nuts. I'm sane. What does that mean? I'm saying I'm nuts. I am. You know, do I incorporate elements that could be called nuts? Sure, why not? I'll give you that. Do I incorporate elements that could be called sane? Sure, why not? You know, Chrysler owns the Chrysler building, but does the cell in this particular cell in this particular joint of his left thumb own the Chrysler building? You know, does the quarks that particular atom in that particular cell is own? Owning the Chrysler building or not owning the Chrysler building is a very particularized game structure related to pieces of paper and social agreements and legalities, which again is it's like, I won Monopoly against my brothers when I was 12 years old. That's just like saying, I own the Chrysler building. Maybe so, but so what? All that's indicating is a certain claim of historical game activity, which is extremely partial within the experiential field. That I did win this particular Monopoly game, let's suppose, not that I ever actually did. That I did win this particular Monopoly game. What else was going on within my experiential field while I was playing that game and supposedly winning it? You know, the playing Monopoly and winning it is such a minuscule, minute portion of what was actually present within the experiential field at that time. It's completely absurd to even characterize it as an event. And yet it's not untrue, if it's not untrue. It's not untrue that Chrysler owns the Chrysler building.
But it's a consensus of opinion.
Yeah, well, it's a consensus of opinion, and it's such a minute aspect of what's actually present within his experiential field as to be basically irrelevant. Completely irrelevant. Like, so what? You own the Chrysler building, but you're also seeing that cloud. You're also feeling this itch on your butt. You're also, remembering something that you're imagining happened to you when you were a kid, and you're this, and you... I mean, look at the actual contents, the actual experiential content of the experiential field in real time. You're in an infinite field of inconceivable apparent information and density, and it's all unresolvable. And yet, in terms of our conscious narration of what's happening, what am I doing? We abstract out these tiny, tiny little threads of, I'm here in this room giving a talk. What I'm doing now is giving a talk. It's not untrue that I'm here giving a talk, but it's such a tiny slice of the pie of my experience as to be essentially irrelevant. So it's not negated, it's included. Yeah, I am giving a talk. But that's not what's happening. All human narrative, all human abstraction essentially is censorious, it's censorship. We have this inconceivably information-dense field of actuality in every instant, which is always unique, never repeating, and always completely changing, instantaneously, like with zero duration. It's not like any state of affairs is even true for like a nanosecond. It's just like utterly, it's gone. Its appearance is its going. I mean, there's no like, it's not like it rises to a peak and then sits there for a while and falls. It's like it's appearing and is a euphemism for it's disappearing. And then there's a new state of affairs which is already gone. A new state of so what's true? So what's happening? I'm sitting here giving a talk. It's like, yeah, that really encompasses a lot, doesn't it?
But you're filtering.
Yeah, it's filtering. Exactly, it's filtering. And it's very, very heavy-handed filtering. And you don't need to not do it. There's nothing wrong with filtering, but just see that it is filtering.
Is there a way to make the filter less filtering?
It doesn't matter. Just see it. You don't need to change it. Just see it. So the conscious mind does this very heavy-handed filtering and narration and interpretation of, what am I doing now? I'm here. And see, my name is Peter Brown, and I live in San Rafael, and I'm here to do this. And so you have your curriculum vitae. You have your sort of list of pulling yourself together. What the fuck am I doing here? Why am I here? And so you sort of have that, just spontaneously in your consciousness, and you can remember, that's right, I came down here because I'm supposed to do a talk, so I better sit down and do a talk. Right? So you have that. You don't need to not have that. That's absolutely fine. But because that doesn't get in the way of the vast continuum that it exists in. So when you get that, a point of focus does not eliminate its context. Context is always included. And context is always drastically and vastly and inconceivably. I would use the word infinitely other than the focus, the point of focus. So all of this narration, all this interpretation and censorship, the filtering, is essentially creating a point of focus. Essentially, it's an imaginary point of focus, but that's unimportant, really. Creating a point of focus. But that point of focus doesn't negate the context. So I'm here giving a talk, but I'm also perceiving that particular exact shade of red and that particular picture at exactly this instant, and then the shade of red next to it, and the shade of red next to it. We could sit here for until the end of time, making a list of every detail of what I experience in one instant, and it's already something else in the next instant, experientially, right? But